My name is Janet Turan, and I am the director of the Sparkman Center for Global Health, also a professor in the School of Public Health here at University of Alabama, Birmingham. And today we're going to talk about an exciting new program that has been funded and that will give us some opportunities to get further training in global health research. So I'm very excited to present this today, and I think we'll also be putting this video up, sending it out to people, putting it on our YouTube channel so that people can get more information. And so what I'm going to do a run through about just describing our Insight Global Health Research Training Program. And then we are going to have lots of time for questions, I believe. So feel free to put questions in the chat or just speak up, and we can also answer questions you may have later. But I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. So the program that we're talking about today is called the Integrated Network of Scholars in Global Health Research Training, which is Insight. And this is a D43 grant, and we joined together with 3 other US universities, and we have a lot of other global partners that I'll talk about, but our US partners are University of Maryland, Baltimore, Baylor College of Medicine, and University of Pittsburgh, joining us at UAB. And this is a program that is sponsored by the Fogarty National Center, which is a part of the National Institute of Health. And it's also run in partnership with a lot of other NIH institutes and centers. So if you look down at the table in the corner, you'll see that many different NIH institutes join in this program and support scholars and trainees, and may also support even more than what we initially have proposed to fund. So a lot of different health areas are involved in this program. And so for people that don't know much about Fogarty, it is really the institute in Fogarty that really supports and facilitates global health research. And it supports both research conducted by US investigators in global settings or international investigators, but hopefully in partnership, and has a big mission around training the next generation of scientists to address global health needs. And so the vision is really where we're really extending across the globe and really, reducing the burden of disease, promoting health, and extending longevity for all people. So it's a great institute to be able to work with. Now, so our consortium is one of 7 that were funded in this round. And so there are 7 other groups similar to ours that are also offering 10 to 12-month fellowship positions in lower and middle income countries for both pre and postdoctoral fellows. So again, these are our consortium members, and we also have 24 affiliated institutions in 20 different countries, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. So this is unlike other maybe D43 grants, this is a very broad mechanism in terms of the countries that are covered and also the health topics. Let's see that my internet is going a little bit crazy. Aims for global health research. This program is going to provide a 1-year research global health training for a total of around 105 scholars over 5 years. So each year we're going to have at least 15 scholars who are funded, and this is over a 5-year period. We also have aims around diversity, equity, and inclusion in global health research training. And so we're hoping to recruit trainees from minority serving institutions and pipeline programs. We also have a focus on women in medicine and science. And finally, we want to support the transition of scholars into successful and sustainable research careers. So this 1-year funding, we hope, is going to, branch off to a long-term collaborations and really beneficial global health research. So our fellowship awards to trainees, and again, these are qualified postdoctoral or predoctoral scholars. We support a 12-month project with an approved site. And so generally, if it's, if a fellow would spend around 11 months at the site, of course, due to restrictions around COVID, this may differ. It is a research-focused program and with a strong focus on mentorship. And so basically, this program mainly funds people who are postdoctoral, so who've finished an MD or a health-related doctoral program. And we have a few spots for pre-doctoral trainees who have not yet finished their doctoral training. And that is only for US citizens. The postdoc, we have spots for both US citizens and citizens of low and middle income countries. So this is actually one of the few Fogarty mechanisms that still supports training for US scholars. Most of the Fogarty D43 grants are only supporting the trainees from LMICs. So this program is a little bit different, a little bit of a mix. And so what if people are selected for this 1-year program, what do they get? They get a fellowship package, which includes a stipend, and this would be according to the NRSA pay scale for US postdocs. For LMIC postdocs, it's around $30,000 a year, but it is differing depend on, basically it's really based on the postdoc salary at that institution where they are based. And then there's also around $25,000 for US pre-docs. But it also includes health insurance for that year, travel money, research costs. And then for our collaborating LMIC host institutions, they get a lump sum of $4,000, which helps to support their administrative costs and potentially their mentors. And that's going to be through a subcontract mechanism with those institutions. Now, this is a little bit small and hard to see, but these, you can see all the partner institutions that are currently included in our program. And so these, when we applied to NIH, we gained the collaboration of all these institutions in all these different countries, and you can see them on the map as well. And so currently, these are the institutions where trainees can apply to do their research practicum for the year. And in the future, we have the opportunity to potentially add additional sites, and we're hoping to do that. But when applying, it required that we already had a strong collaboration with the institution in terms of grant funding. And so these are all different institutions that work with one of our 4 US partner institutions. So basically the trainees, either from US or LMIC, would apply to work at one of these sites. And if you go on the website, and I'm going to give the link later, you can see more information about all these sites. You can get a list of all the mentors that are available. the research areas that they're strong on, and we can also provide you with more information. So as I mentioned this is a pretty broad area in terms of topics that are covered. So the sort of main areas that there is a certain amount of the funding that has to focus on HIV. So HIV is one of the focus areas, but also non-communicable diseases, mental health, and emerging and re-emerging infectious diseases, and a special interest in maybe how some of these overlap with HIV. But really, it's quite broad, and any things that are of interest to any of the institutes that are collaborating could potentially be a fit. So, and we're particularly interested in adolescents and young women, mothers and children, men, and sexual and gender minorities. And the research can be laboratory, implementation science, health systems, social and behavioral. There's a wide range of types of research that would be involved, that can be involved. And so we have a structure in the program. Again, you can see it in more detail on the website, but we have leads for these different subpopulations and science topics. And we have again, both HIV and non-HIV track leaders that are guiding this program. And as I mentioned before, mentorship is a real strong part of this program. And we have a big list of potential US mentors and mentors based at the LMIC institutions. And so the trainee would, as they're applying, identify both a US mentor at one of the 4 institutions and an LMIC mentor at the institution where they would like to work. And so really it's this triad that works together throughout the year. And so we do, have all of the applicants will do individual development plans, and there'll be a lot of sort of support and monitoring along the way. So basically what the program will be like if someone is accepted is a 1-year research program. There is an initial orientation at NIH. I believe this year that it is going to be virtual again, and that is going to occur in July. Then there's a week 2 and 3 are some global health research competency courses. That's going to be completely virtual. And then the remainder of the year is the research practicum. And so that will include, working on site, doing your research. We will, there will be some lectures from time to time. You'll have your one-on-one mentoring sessions. There'll be oral presentations for peer and mentor feedback. And we're also providing biostatistical and epidemiological consultation. So that's what the year looks like. Again, we are aiming to promote and support diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so we want to really reach out to minority serving institutions, the pipeline programs, and really generate interest and outreach, because when we look at US scholars working in global health, it's a pretty undiverse population. So that's something that we're putting a lot of emphasis on. And of course, especially the women-focused initiatives are important. So we're going to do a lot around that as well. We're also going to have some scholar working groups. So every year there are going to be different topics based on the research interests of the scholars who are selected. And so if we have, a group interested in working on stigma around COVID-19, or even just COVID-19 in general, we'll form these working groups really that will be led by the scholars, and they will have the ability to organize seminars, invite guest lecturers. And so this could be many different topics. And we're also going to help people to further launch their global health research careers through helping them to apply for K awards and other mechanisms for career development. This, I don't think, just to show you that we've got a whole sort of social ecological model that's going to sort of drive program evaluation. I don't think we need to go into that in a lot of detail. So now this year is a little bit of an odd year for us, because normally these programs, which they have been, similar programs have been going on with Fogarty support for some time. And normally they would start recruiting in November for the cohort that's going to start in July. In our case, we just received our notice of grant award, I think last week or something. So we're a little bit behind in terms of we're having to jumpstart this very quickly. So that's one reason that we do want to hook up with existing NIH-funded T32 programs and other Fogarty and NIH programs to see if there are trainees who might want to transition to this program. We're also going to establish linkages with other global health research training programs that are at some of our partner universities. And this is just a little bit for if anyone is joining from one of our affiliated LMIC sites, that, what will their responsibilities be? And one thing is to help in the identification of trainees who are interested in conducting research at the site. So those could be postdocs at your institution, or you may know of US pre and postdoc trainees who want to work at your institution. So if you are already working with some people who would be eligible for this program, then please send them our way. The sites will also help in the matching of faculty mentors with the trainees. And then during the year-long process, provide guidance and mentorship to the trainees that are selected to conduct research at your site in any given year. So in any given year, we may not have trainees at all sites. So that'll depend on who applies and the quality of the applications. And as I mentioned, the sites are going to receive some minimal funding, at least to support their administrative and other mentor costs for a year when they are hosting a trainee. And the LMIC trainees will be doing their research in their country, at their institution, but we also envision that they will travel to the US partner institution for some targeted trainings and mentorship during the year. Could be for a short course, or to work in a lab, or do something for a period of a couple months. So that's part of what is envisioned. So if anybody's had a chance to look at the website, the application process it's a hefty process, but these are all the things that we need to really make a strong case, because we do not, our consortium and our leadership, we do not only ourselves decide on who gets funded. NIH gets involved as well. So it's a process to get through. But what you need include a personal statement, a brief research proposal, a mentorship plan, a plan for how you're going to get IRB and other ethical approvals. If you have any additional funding for the project, we'd like to hear about that. Your timeline, your budget, your biosketch, your transcripts. And then we need 2 letters of support, one from your US mentor and one from your LMIC mentor. And again, we can help you as a program to identify those mentors if you don't have them already. And we may also need a letter of commitment from your institution. So we're going to receive these and we're going to rank the candidates, and then we're going to, for each track, or we may choose the top 2 or 3 candidates to have an in-person or a video interview. And then we will make our selection and have our sort of top choices and then a list of alternative choices. And so it's also possible that many of the alternatives will be funded. So I think there are a lot of opportunities here because a lot of the institutes apparently will be reaching out to us to fund additional people. Oops, sorry. So what are the selection criteria? Of course, the person's work has to be relevant to our program objectives. The quality of the proposed research project is important. The candidate background and statement. The feasibility of the study within the budget and timelines, the mentoring plan, and the letters of support. Now, again, as I mentioned, that we're in sort of a very short time period right now, deadlines to recruit our initial cohort. So we actually have, and we've got 2 different deadlines, and one is early decision, which is actually due fairly soon, next week on April 8th, and then you would get a quicker response. Our regular decision applications are due May 16th. And so if you went for early decision, you would know by April 30th whether you're, accepted or not. And whereas if you were going for the regular decision, you would find out in June. So that's what we've been able to put together. We are going to be, and I'm sure we've sent out in a lot of forums, the link to the website where you find the application and all the instructions and all the information. So that is the brief overview, and I would love to answer questions. Let's see if I can end this. I may need to go back to it, but okay, so great. So I have a question in the chat from Matthew Gribble. Is it possible to consider additional LMIC partners? I've collaborators at Western Philippines University and University of the Philippines in Manila who reached out to me this week about training opportunities. The answer is yes, absolutely. Although we may struggle to add new partners for this first initial cohort of scholars, the first year, just because we've been informed by NIH that there's a process for adding new sites, and I'm definitely excited about adding new sites. I would love to add Aga Khan University in Pakistan in Nairobi that I'm collaborating with closely now. And so yes, it is possible, but there's a process that we have to go through to add a new site, and we'll be open to doing that. If Anna Hilova is on, Anna, do you want to say anything more about that? If you're able to speak. She may not be in a place where she can speak easily, but let's see if she comes on later. Okay. The next question is, I see, would there be considerations for flexibility in travel? For example, rather than spending 10 consecutive months in a country, might it be possible to plan for 3 or 4 trips over the course of a year? I'm not sure about that. In general, that hasn't been the way these programs have worked. And again, the travel money is a bit limited, but I think we can ask about that. And I just don't know because of COVID and other considerations, if there might be different types of flexibility. Cameron, are we saving this chat, or can we save the chat?
Yes, I will make sure to save it.
Great. Okay, because some of these questions I may need to follow up with our other partners and see if I can get a fuller answer. Okay, yeah, the second question looked like it was about the same thing. So it sounds like if there's flexibility, again, in terms of making multiple trips versus staying on site. Yeah, that's, and again, I'll just say that's not generally the way these things work, but there might be some, but I think that your institution, if you are in a position that you may have to make a commitment that they're going to give you the time off to focus on this fellowship, in terms of if you have another position going on. Another good question. If not successful with the April application, can the candidate reapply in May? Ooh, I think that would be challenging because of the quick turnaround, but again, that's what I'm going to have to ask and follow up on. Okay, someone is saying, if an applicant is selected, is it required to adhere to the exact research proposal in their applications? What happens if research interest changes or updates? That's another good question. And I think there is a good deal of, there's some flexibility, and you would have these, regular meetings with your mentors and, kind of checkups along the way that would allow you to, totally changing your entire area or something might be a little bit challenging, but yeah, maybe the circumstances on the ground may dictate that you need to make an adjustment in your research project, and that can be worked out with your mentors. And that would, as long as everyone's on board with it and what the new plan is feasible, then I don't see why not. Okay, I'm going to, what is the longest an LMIC applicant can spend in the US partner institution for training? I'm not sure about that, but I think it's 2 to 3 months. And I think that may have to do with visa issues, so in our notice for grant award, it mentions, I believe, a 2 to at most 3 month stay for LMIC scholars who are coming here for a targeted short training. But again, the LMIC scholars' main research project should be in the country or site that they're planning to, to focus on. But there can be this need for extra skills or training or closer work with the US mentor that can necessitate your coming to the US for 2 or 3 months. There's the next question is about who this program is. This program restricted to pre and postdoctoral students only? Can faculty in the School of Medicine with an MPH degree participate in this program? So I'm going to find another slideshow that has a slide that I think is useful for this, which is not included in this. The slide is helpful because it this is okay for US postdocs, can be an MD or equivalent health related PhD, or other health-related doctoral degree in nursing, pharmacy, dentistry, public health, or social work within the last 3 years. So that's kind of a key thing. It has to be, a relatively new MD or doctoral degree. Now, when we talk about the pre-docs, so those can be, they can be pre-docs like in a doctoral program. We would prefer that they be more advanced in their doctoral program, preferably in candidacy, or a medical student, pre-professional or nursing student. So if you have demonstrated interest in global health, then that is applicable. And then for the LMIC postdoc, you could have an MBBS or a PhD or other health-related doctoral degree within the last 5 to 7 years and an interest in global health research. So these are the people that are most, qualified for this program. And so if you fit within those qualifications, then you can be applicable. You can have a chance. Let's see. Another question.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead. Hi.
Yeah. Do I have to write the question, or it's okay if I just
you can go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I have several questions actually. So my first one, regarding the selection criteria, you just mentioned that the research project has to be within the limited budget. So how much exactly are we talking about?
Okay, well, we let me just again, which one? It wasn't too far down. I think it was here. Yes.
That was it.
Yeah. Okay. So the research for US, these are the research costs that are supported. Okay. Apparently, and these are fixed across the consortium. So I'm not sure exactly what they're based on, but again, the research costs are pretty small, and so it doesn't really support doing a large primary data collection project. But if you have something that can fit within, that's okay.
So just one follow-up question on this, like if I can by some means to figure out some way to have the data collection at my original institution and work on the analysis of these data at like the host institution, like I'll take the costs for collecting the data at my home institution.
Yeah,
maybe
that's
as
possible. Yeah, and then you could talk about in your application about sort of the additional support or funding that you have for this project. So you could say, the data collection is being supported through separate funding through my host institution, and during this fellowship, I'm going to work on the analyses or whatever aspects you need to work on. So that's possible.
Perfect. So I'm sorry, just like a couple of questions more. It's like about the selection criteria also, it was like the mentoring plan, I think. Mm-hmm. It was one of the selection criteria. So who is responsible for like producing this plan? Is the applicant himself or the mentor? And in case it was the mentor, how would we control this as an applicant?
I think the applicant is responsible for developing it, hopefully in consultation with the mentors, but ultimately it's going to be part of the applicant's package that they submit. And so they'll have to say, one, just like, who you're going to be working with by identifying these mentors, and then some plan for how you're going to communicate, how often you're going to meet, things like that.
Okay, so my last question is about the mentors. Do they have to be from the four main institutions, the US, Baylor, and UAB, etc., or from any other institution?
I think at this point, they really need to be from the US mentor needs to be from one of those four institutions to get accepted to our program. Now, you will find that if you are affiliated with Duke or University of North Carolina or other universities. There are 7 other consortia, so you could look to those perhaps. But if you want to work with us within the Insight program, you should try to identify a mentor at one of those 4 institutions, and we can help with that. So if you've got a project and a mentor at LMIC institution, and you can communicate with us, and we'll try to help match you with a US mentor that would be appropriate.
Perfect. I'm just worried about the tight timeline, because like the 8th of April is just like 1 week away.
I know.
Is it possible?
Yeah.
Like,
well,
we have time to communicate with mentors, get accepted.
It's challenging. I agree. So we may not get. I don't know how many applications we'll get for that early deadline, but I realize it's very challenging.
Okay, thank you.
But we'll do whatever we can to help.
Yeah, thank you.
And we are going to do a YouTube video of this presentation and the slides, and we'll send the link out to everybody who we also sent the link for this presentation, so you will have access to the slides and the information. Okay, let's see if there are any other questions. I don't know if I missed any in the chat. But please do go to the link in the website and reach out to us at the Sparkman Center at UAB, or to the main coordinating center at University of Maryland, Baltimore. We will do our best to help and support you in any way we can.
Okay, thank you very much.
You are welcome. Okay.
I just remember one last question, if you don't mind. So.
Oh, great, fine. Yeah, we have time.
So,
no problem.
That the faculty member has to be like in the public health or global health department, or just a faculty member affiliated to any of the universities?
It can be any of the universities, any of the departments. Yeah, so it doesn't have to be public health or global health. It can be whatever department is. Could be microbiology, could be psychology, could be, yeah. So it's totally open in that regard. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, if there are not any other questions, maybe we can wrap it up. And yeah, I think we can both have the YouTube to share, and we could also just share maybe just the slides themselves. I think that might be useful for some people if they don't have time to watch a video. So
yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. All right. Well, thanks everyone. And yeah, feel free to send us questions, and we hope that you will apply.